What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the games adjuster Ethan Rodriguez, and today we are talking about the two-player only game of Kero. So Kero is a game published by Hurrican Games. They got a real-time element to it and a lot of dice rolling. So let me first go down to the table. Let me show you how it works. I'll also show you how to store the game components back in the box. Then we'll come back here and I'll give you some final thoughts. So here we go. All right, to begin the game, players are going to choose a color. You've got the gray over here and the brown over there. You're also going to grab two of these jerry can tokens here, as well as your explorers. There are 7 explorers per side, and 2 of these Tuareg tiles, which we'll be discussing later. Okay. Also, to set up the game, you're going to set out these ability tokens over here. One player will be the first player, whoever most recently fueled up, and then you'll set up this deck here. Okay, and so this deck is comprised of 12 of these starter cards. There's 6 here. I've already laid out 6 there. You'd shuffle all those together, and then there are these regular cards here, which I've got underneath these claim cards. So what you'll be doing is splitting these into 3 roughly equal piles, shuffling in 1 claim card per pile. So we'll do that real quick here. Just kind of give that a shuffle, and we'll stack those on top of each other like so. Put the starter deck back on top, and then you would be filling the deck, but we've already done that. All right, and that's basically the setup. You'll stack the rest of the Tuareg tiles here. You'll have 3 colored dice there, and then the 5 white dice here. And so you're ready to begin the game, and on your turn, you have 4 kind of things that you can go through to complete your turn. So the first thing you can do is fuel up. Now, the game centers around this tanker truck here with sand in it. So it's kind of a dark red sand. It's called Kero in this game. And as you take your turn, you'll be tipping this up so that the sand will run. Kind of hard to see here. But when you want to fuel up, you'll be tipping it back the other way so that you can get more sand. Now, when you choose to fuel up, you can either spend 1 fuel or 2 fuel, and then the opponent will take all 8 dice, and they will be with one hand rolling these dice, trying to get fire. So in real time, you'll be holding yours up, they'll be rolling their dice, trying to get all of them to be fire. If they finally do, then they will end fueling. You'll have to stop, lay it back flat, and then you can begin taking the rest of your turn. If ever 7 of them are the right facing, the fire, but one of them is not, on the 5th roll here, no matter what it is, you will get to automatically move on with it being fire. Okay, so that's the first thing you can do on your turn, is if you're getting low on fuel, you'll want to do that. After that, you can go ahead and take your normal action. So what you'll be doing is first selecting your dice. You're always going to get these 5 white dice, but then you can pay optionally 1 fuel to get more dice per die. And these dice have a variety of symbols on them. So the white dice are all the same. They've got the wheat here, the brick, the person, the fuel, a fire, and then a gear. The yellow, blue, and green are unique. This one here's got a jerry can token, another token, a Tuareg tile, a person, 2 people, and a flame. Blue one's got a lot of gears, 1, 2, 3, another 3, a free explore action, and a flame. And finally, the yellow one's got their basic resources, the flame, 3 brick, 2 brick, 1 brick, 2 wheat, 3 wheat. All right, so you'll be paying fuel to get those optionally. Once you've made your optional choices, you will then roll your dice. So in real time, you are going to first stand up your tanker truck, and then you'll start rolling. And oh, that was a terrible roll. Basically, what you'll be doing is you'll roll your dice, and any flames you cannot re-roll unless you have a special ability, and you'll try to get different combinations based on what you're going for. And so this would be a terrible roll, and I wanted to stop immediately, but let's say I didn't roll that terribly. Maybe I have this is still running, and I want to look at that and say, maybe I can put these 2 together. I want to re-roll these. Okay, I can keep re-rolling as many times as I want to. Okay, now I'm going to have to stop, and you're done. And again, this is real time. If you stop in time without your fuel running out, then you continue taking your turn. If your fuel runs out, then any progress you made is lost. You will get 1 free refuel from the Tuaregs that are going to help you out, and it passes on to the other person's turn. So let's just finish this out. Let's say we didn't run out of fuel. We'll go ahead and take our action. Now that we've got our options available, we can start utilizing the dice to take those actions. So first thing we can do is take cards. There are cards here on this row from the deck we built, and they have resource costs on the bottom. So this card here, for example, will cost you 3 wheat and a jerry can token to get this special ability. These ability tiles here can be taken, and they're 5 per team, as exhibited here. And basically what they're doing is going to give you ongoing abilities. So if you take this one, for instance, if I had 3 wheat and a fuel, I could spin that, and I would permanently get this tile here, set it over here on this side, and now every time I roll, I would always get the yellow dice without having to pay a fuel for it. Some of them will give you points. The purple gallon tank thing is a point symbol here. Pay the resources, and then you'd have an immediate benefit of 3 jerry can tokens. Others will allow you to explore. This one here is the explore symbol. It's also represented by this combination of resources here. An explore action is where you're going to use these tokens. So this becomes like an area control thing. So what you can do is, if you had the resources to either get something that gave you that benefit, or even these 2 resources, a person and the gear, we'll let you go ahead and take an explore action to take one of your tokens, doesn't matter which one, and you select one of the 4 available location tiles to place on. So I might go here. These location tiles give you a wide variety of benefits. This one here, for example, is just 4 points. That's quite a bit. Others will give you points and immediate benefit. So here it's 3 points and immediately take a Tuareg tile. You've got this one here with some potential in-game scoring, 1 point per location tile. And then some still will give you a point plus some extra benefits if you meet a certain criteria. So this one says 1 point plus 3 extra points if you have a set of all 4 cards of the same color. These cards come in 3 colors. There is yellow, green, and blue. All right, so you can take cards, as many cards as you have available resources, and take actions like exploring. You can also buy Tuareg tiles. So these Tuareg tiles, it's kind of covered up here, but they cost you 2 fuel. So if you wanted to spend 2 fuel tokens, you can go ahead and grab some of those as well and add them to your stack here. You can have as many of these as you want to, but they are one-time uses, and once they're used, they are discarded. After that, the next player will take their turn, and this will continue back and forth, taking turns until eventually you get to the claim card, which we shuffled up earlier. So let's say we got one, comes up finally. Oh, here we go. Boom. So as people take cards, we'll need to be sliding these over, refilling from the top of the deck until a claim card comes out. Once a claim card is available on the board, we will need to assess what happened here. So let me just kind of throw some things out here. For an example, let's say the game had accelerated, and that's kind of what we had. Basically, we'll assess who has majorities. So here, because it's a tie, no one has majority, nobody claims this, it goes and gets discarded. Here, the gray player, myself, has this, so I will collect that and put that in my available area. Here, the brown player has that, so they'll go ahead and take that. And then here, no one has it, so it goes away and gets discarded. And then we refill from the top. And again, there's a wide variety of these. Here, 1 point per brown, 1 point and 2 point if you have a set, 2 points and immediate benefits, 2 points and more immediate benefits. You'll place those out here, and you'll continue playing like normal, refilling the track. It's possible that another claim card could come out, depending on how they got shuffled in, and you would need to resolve that immediately if it did. Also, I should mention, if ever, after you finish rolling, you have 2 or more flames, then the last card here is going to be burned before you slide over. All right, and then you would, again, just refill like normal. So let's pretend the claim hadn't happened yet. We would just refill, and the next player would take their turn. Some cards don't give you any immediate benefit. Now, let's talk more about some of what these cards might do for you. So the special abilities include getting extra die, perhaps getting extra resources every time. So each turn I automatically have a brick. Each turn I automatically have a person or gear or wheat. The 3 color die, I automatically get a fuel every turn. I can spend 1 wheat to get a fuel. There are some that are just, again, straight points. This one here has kind of a cascading point effect. So the number of points it's worth is equal to the number of cards of these you have. So if you have 4 of them, you get 13 points. you only have one, you get two. Still others, we're going to let you put out more. Some of them don't even have any ability, like this one here, just straight 2 points. And that's pretty much all those cards. And so finally, we're going to start talking about the Tuareg tiles. So here I've got the back of the rulebook. It does a great job of kind of explaining what the different scorings do, what the permanent abilities are, and then also what the Tuaregs do. So these Tuareg tiles are pretty powerful, basically change the game. So one of them will let you add 2 special dice of your choice. This one allows you to re-roll the flames instead of normally having to not re-roll them. If your opponent chooses to refuel, you can make it so that you only roll 5 white dice instead of all 8. And then again, same rules apply. If you get all flames, they end. Move some tiles around on the locations. Get 2 extra resources after you finish rolling. Get a free refuel without having to spend the fuel for it. Spend 2 jerry cans to remove an explorer. And finally, you can discard an additional card if you feel pretty confident maybe the next claim card's coming or you're trying to accelerate the end of the game. Then you can do that and kind of move the track further so that the end game comes quicker. The game will end after the 3rd claim card is revealed. And then if it's the first player who reveals it, the second player takes 1 final turn. If it's the second player, the game ends immediately. Because all the location tiles will be removed at that time, if the second player chooses to explore, they can either go here to get 1 point or put 2 explorers here to get 3 points. And that's the end of the game. At the end of the game, you're going to count the points from the cards that you claimed, the location tiles that you have, and whoever has the most points is the winner. All right, real quick, I'm just going to show how I store the game away. This is one of the best inserts I've seen in a board game. Hurrican Games usually does a great job with these kind of things, but here, this is where the dice are going to go, obviously. We've got all the Tuareg tiles and the first player token in this first bin on the left. We've also got all the jerry can tokens here, the player discs of each color, the associated player tanks of each color. Pro tip, and it does suggest this in the rules, you kind of want to make sure that all the fuel is on the bottom. So that way when you start the game next time, you are ready to go. Of course, if you store this upside down, that's not really going to matter, but depending on how you store it, that might help. We'll put the ability tokens in here. All of the location tiles go neatly on top. And then you've got your card. I've got the claim cards on top, all the starter cards, and then the regular cards. And so I will put all of those here. Finally, we'll put this board. And by the way, this back of the board is really awesome. It could have just been black. It actually says Kero. Really nice artwork. Put that on top along with the rules. And that is how you back it away. Oops, excuse you. Back to the top. So let me go up top and officially tell you what I think about it. All right, there you go. That's how to play. So let's start talking about it. We'll start with the theme. I think the theme is really cool, but the game mechanisms aren't that thematic. The most thematic piece is going to be the tanker truck, right? Because if you're going out in this kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland world and you don't have enough fuel, then if you get stuck, that won't be very good. You're not going to get home with all your resources, and if you're having to deal with the Tuaregs, maybe they'll fuel you up, but in return you kind of give them some of those resources. So thematically that kind of works. Otherwise, why it's a dice rolling game, just cause so it's kind of a cool theme. It's definitely not something that's necessarily boring, but also post-apocalyptic is done quite a bit nowadays. So I don't know that it's that unique either. But if you're a Mad Max type fan, someone who likes that kind of stuff, this I think is perfect for you. As far as the production goes, it's amazing. They always do a great job, this publisher, and this is no exception. Like I showed you in the overview, you've got these really neat tanker trucks. The dice are good quality. I kind of like, they're kind of rounded edges. They're more square, but that's fine. I think the card quality is pretty good. The board itself is really nice. Even the back has this nice print on the back of it instead of just black. That's really neat. The insert is awesome. Everything has its perfect little spot. What I showed you wasn't anything creative that I came up with. It's just kind of how the game is stored. And I love useful inserts. That insert is so good that whether you store it vertically or you store it horizontally, it's still going to work for you because it's so tight and everything fits perfectly where it goes. So really good job on the production. Tanker trucks are awesome again. Overall, I have no complaints. As far as the rules go, they're again very simple. The back of the rule book has everything broken down as far as what all the abilities mean and the special powers, the Tuareg tiles, the in-game scoring, all of that stuff. Would have been nice to have player rates. You're going to hear this a lot on this channel, but I am a huge proponent of them, and I'll keep saying it until someone gets it. But yeah, why not player rate? Just to break down, like, hey, optionally refuel, then these are things you can do. It's not that hard a game. Everything's printed on the board, but it would have been cool just to have. Just saying. Beyond that, yeah, everything's just smooth. It all makes sense. It's not a difficult game at all. I play this with my 11-year-old. It says um, 9+ on the box. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It's not a hard game. It's really just, can you balance the real-time element with what you need? And that's kind of taking us into gameplay now. One of the most interesting parts here is you've got that real-time element that's making your decisions tougher. You might have it planned out immediately, like, oh yeah, I'm going to go for that card. I've got to get 3 wheat. That's my goal. As soon as you start rolling, though, you kind of start forgetting your plans. You see some other opportunities come up. Maybe you get a couple flames on your first roll. You're like, oh man, I can't really go for the wheat now. It's going to be really hard to do. I only got 1 wheat, and the rest are the other resources, and then 2 flames. I only rolled 5 die. The chances of me getting that pretty slim now. I need to pivot. I need to figure out something else to do. What can I go for now? And all the while you're processing this, the time is still ticking down. So you and your opponents are not really going to be like, oh yeah, time's getting close. I mean, if they want to be nice, they could, but they don't have to. So if you're not paying attention, then you might get stuck with nothing, right? So you need to pivot. You need to kind of recognize what patterns you have or can go for, and then how often do you need to push your luck and reroll your dice, or when you just call it and get something rather than nothing. When you refuel, do you refuel once before you roll or twice? You got to make that decision up front. If you do it twice, I didn't mention this, but basically the opponent has to roll the 8 flames 2 times. So they do it once, put it back flat, all right, ready, set, go. They do it again, then you're done. Versus the 1 fuel is just 1 time 8, you're done. So do you chance that? Which card you go for, of course. Which location tiles are you going for? If you identify early that, hey, I got a lot of blue cards, there's now a location tile that says I get a lot of points for blue cards. I kind of want to go for that. But your opponent knows that too, so maybe they do some trickery with those Tuareg tiles to manipulate some of those tokens, and so you don't get that. So the gameplay is pretty good. It's got good decisions. It's frantic, and that's a big component here. If you don't like real-time elements, you're probably not going to like this game because it definitely will give you a lot of stress. And so keep that in mind. As far as the time goes, it's super quick. It says 30 minutes on the box. That's accurate. It's not a long game. You set it all up, take your turns. It could happen that the claim cards come out at the first card of each section, the 3 sections, which would expedite the game even quicker. Or, there it's like the second section's last card, the third section's first card, boom, game over. Really, the third section is what's going to drive the end of the game. If it's the first card in there, you're going to have a limited amount of turns, and especially if people are cycling through those cards pretty quickly. So it's not a long game. It's easy to set up, easy to pack up. Great insert again. Yeah, I think you're a good time. The variety now is where I'm kind of going to ding this game a little bit, maybe quite a bit. There's really not much more to explore after your first play, which is unfortunate because I really like the total package here as far as the product. It's got a good hook, it's got fun artwork, it's got good components. It's just, and the gameplay's frantic but fun. But that's it. Once you play it once, you could potentially see every single card the first time you play it, depending on where that claim card is. If it's the last card, then you've seen everything. The location tiles, you're going to see all of those every game. So I don't know. It just feels like, man, I don't know if an expansion fixes it. I don't know if it needs an expansion, though. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're going for. It's not like this is a lifestyle game, right? And not every game needs expansions. I just feel like, yeah, it would have been cool, something different. Hey, you only use so many location tiles instead of all of them. Which ones in the game you don't really know, or you only use so many cards or so many special abilities. But you see everything basically every game. Maybe you don't see every single Tuareg tile, depending on whether that's your strategy or not to go for them. But outside of that, yeah, you see it. So yeah, that's kind of the one thing that I like the game a lot. It's going to stay in my collection. I just don't know for how long because there's not much more for me to explore here. So with that said, final rating now, I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. It would be higher if I think there was more that the game had to offer me, but again, it's so limited because you see everything and there's nothing to discover. There's nothing really to keep you coming back other than if you really enjoy the gameplay. And because it's only two players, if you have a certain style that you gravitate towards, then you're really not going to have a different experience at all. And especially if you're playing with the same person, like myself, I usually play with my wife or my daughter. We pretty much saw everything we were going to do, and so I don't know how much more this game is going to give me. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Kero. Definitely, again, really cool. If you don't really mind the lack of variety, this is a great one to have. It's an awesome production. If you bring it out with someone, maybe a new gamer, they're going to be kind of hooked on just how awesome these components are. I mean, they're really neat. So give it a whirl if that sounds good to you. Let me know if you've played this in the comments below, what you thought about it. If there's other games like this with maybe a real-time element or the almost kind of Yahtzee style push your luck thing that you think I should check out, let me know as well. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.